Morning. Probably just gonna stream for like an hour or so, maybe a little bit more, maybe two. But I'm gonna go back to sleep in a little bit. It's 5 a.m. and I have work, I have orientation for my new job at 11:45. So yay, that'll be dumb. But hey, you gotta. I'm gonna hate it. It's day one. I already hate work. Uh, People are like, "Ooh, I'm so excited for my first day." No. Howdy, howdy. We're just basically doing some psychological evaluation research to, because people are like, you shouldn't get a psychological evaluation. You're probably going to get institutionalized. And I'm like, oh, hey, man, that kind of sucks. And I'm kind of like, yo, but I want to know what I am. And I think it would be useful for both myself and for, other people who may have the same mental disorders that I have. So it's kind of like this whole like teetering of like, what do I do? Do I risk getting institutionalized, and which will make it so I cannot provide utility for the world? Guys, I don't care about getting institutionalized. Frankly, I'm indifferent about if I'm in a ward or if I'm, here doing this. Like, frankly, life is boring. Life sucks either way. It's not gonna make much of a difference if I'm hop up on meds in a psych ward talking to people about antinatalism and not change people's minds, which probably would change more people's minds than a psych ward. uh, or fucking out here like trying to convince people in the street. But when it comes down to it, who knows? So I want to get evaluated. I've had for a long time. My psychiatrist thinks I probably should get evaluated also. And first she was just kind of wary of me getting evaluated, but now she's like, yeah, you should probably get evaluated. So who knows? Let's explore psychological evaluation, seeing as how I'm scheduled for one in the fall. Let's find out what this is like.
Hey guys! Well, today's video is a little bit different because first of all, I'm sitting on my couch, so that's kind of random. I was just sitting here kind of enjoying the sunshine, and it's just such a nice, beautiful day outside. And I've had kind of a crappy start to the day. And I was thinking about my day, and I was like, maybe I should just make a video and share with you guys kind of what I went through because maybe some of you are going through it or have in the past, and it might be able to help you, or maybe you could relate to it. So instead of just being stuck inside my own head, I decided to make this video. Um, so today started out kind of on the crappy side because I had to go in for a mental evaluation. And if you've been following my channel and watching my videos for any length of time, several years ago, I made some videos about what a psychological.
See, she says she's like, this is crappy. I had to. I'm voluntarily going in for a psychological evaluation just because I'm curious who I am. She's like, this is crappy. I have to do this. Me, I'm like, I'm voluntarily doing this. People are like, don't do this. And I'm like, why not? Uh, so
Evaluation was all about and some of my experiences with that in the past. But some of those videos I think now are on private, and if you're relatively new to this channel, then you might not have seen them in the past. The reason that I needed to go in for an evaluation is because some of you may know that this past January, the new healthcare reform law passed, and that meant that a lot of people who previously were uninsured or were low income were now able to get insurance, and that insurance not only covers health insurance but mental health as well, which is really good because I haven't had insurance that covered anything mental health wise in a really long time. So I haven't been to the doctor in a long time, and I haven't seen a counselor or gotten any kind of therapy or been on any kind of medication for any of my issues for a long time. So I decided recently that I kind of needed to stop putting it off, and now that I have insurance, I should just make some appointments. So I did make a doctor's appointment, and they want you to come in if you're going to a new doctor or if you haven't been to the doctor in a long time. It's really good to get a physical done, which is just like a checkup basically of your physical health. Sometimes they take blood from me. They do because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. But for some people, it's just kind of taking blood pressure and things of that nature, just checking kind of your symptoms, just to make sure everything's working correctly. But if you go in for, if you try to make an appointment to be seen for counseling or to receive any kind of medication, maybe for mental health reasons, sometimes they require you to go in for a mental evaluation as well as a physical evaluation. And sometimes these go by different names. They might call it a mental evaluation. They might call it a psychological evaluation. They might call it an intake exam. They might call it an intake appointment. There are several different names for it, but normally they do sort of the same thing. And basically what this is for and why they do this is because they want to make sure that they can kind of treat you properly. And to do that, not only do they need your previous records, but they need to see maybe what you're struggling with now. And that is not only to maybe place you with a counselor that specializes in maybe what you're going through, but also to know maybe what kind of medications you might need if you're going on medications, or what kind of treatment or whatever course they're going to set you on. So this could be helpful for doctors or for counselors, or any kind of benefits you're applying for, or any kind of services you might need. So there are a lot of reasons why people go in to get these evaluations, and there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean that you're crazy if you go in for one. It doesn't mean anything. It's exactly the same as saying you're going in for a physical, for your physical health. It's just a mental health one. And it is scary though. I totally, I get it. And I know some people, when they like think psychological evaluation, I mean, with me and my anxiety, of course, it just like makes me fear, and it makes me just start to panic. And I just don't even like the thought of it, even though I've been through them before. But I thought maybe if I told you a little bit about what it's like, if you now have insurance due to the new healthcare plan, or if you're getting insurance, or if you're just too scared to make an appointment because you don't know what this entails, maybe this will help you kind of let you know maybe what you're in for. Now, not all experiences are the same, and not all the places that you go will be the same, but it's kind of general. I've heard from a lot of different people in a lot of different places that are similar to what I experienced today. So first of all, go in for the appointment, and they basically start out the appointment just asking you about yourself, and they ask you, how do you currently feel? Do you feel like you are struggling with anything right now? Do you have any problems? And I know that's kind of scary, but you don't have to go into a lot of detail with this. You can just say, and like I said, I was very honest and truthful, and I just said I currently struggle with depression, and it's been an ongoing thing, and they ask how long, and you tell them for how long. And then I said, well, I do also have anxiety and social anxiety, and they ask, when did that come on? What are your symptoms like? Is it around crowds? Is it a certain thing that triggers you? What makes you panic? Or and so you can just be honest and say crowds, or you could be certain situations or certain people, and then they'll ask you related questions. They'll say, is that have you ever a lot of times they will actually come out and ask you if you've harmed yourself in any way, like cutting, burning, things of that nature, which obviously I've self-harmed in the past. And so you have to be, it's better to be honest. It's not very comfortable talking about these things and admitting these things to people, but you have to remember that these people are professionals. They are psychologists. They have gotten their degree, and I can guarantee you, with the amount of people that they see, that you're just a drop in the bucket. You're probably not going to say anything that's going to shock them, because they've seen so much and they know so much. And out of all the people that I've ever seen, nobody has ever seemed really shocked by anything that I've said. So they do ask you, but they don't. They're not invasive. They don't ask you, can I see where you self-harmed, or ask you really invasive questions. And if any doctor ever does that to you, not a primary care doctor, but like a counselor or therapist or someone who's doing an exam like this, you have the right to say no, and that is not okay. Some people think that they just have no choice but to maybe talk about things they don't want to, or do things they don't want to. But I promise you, just because they're there to
I
evaluate you
don't
does not
know,
mean that you have to
man.
answer questions that make you uncomfortable, or anything like that. So they do ask you those things, and then they ask you sometimes if you're feeling
Won't
suicidal
answer
or
any
homicidal, or
questions. Like,
if you experience different types of things. They ask you, what's your daily routine like? What do you do from the time you get up to the time you go to bed? What are your hobbies?
but what do you say if you
Are
say
you in a
yes? What
relationship?
happens?
Do you have friends? Things like that. And they're just asking you these things to kind of gauge just kind of how your daily life is. And if you struggle with anxiety or depression, they can gauge better how severe it is by maybe some of the things that you tell them about your day, or how it affects your life. So there's a reason behind everything that they ask. Then they go on and they do ask you some things that some of you might feel are unnecessary, and sometimes I do too, but I understand why they ask them. It's kind of like an IQ type test. It's not measuring your IQ, and there are no right or wrong answers, but I think they want to check your memory and your focus and your attention, and kind of your cognitive ability. So they will ask you things like, what month is it? What season? Who's the president? Who are the last 5 presidents? Can you repeat this sentence back to me? Can you spell this word backwards? Can you count backwards from 100 in sevens? Can you draw this on a piece of paper? And I think they're just trying to see how you are in stressful situations, and also kind of just test to make sure that you're not suffering from some kind of cognitive problem. And a lot of people do suffer from focus and attention deficit problems, and that's totally fine and normal. And there is no right or wrong answer, and that to me is the most stressful part. Just because I always think like, okay, am I taking too long, or did I say that wrong, or did I get the answer right or wrong? Because I don't like feeling like I'm being tested. It's just something that triggers anxiety, but I know it's worth it just to get it over with. And that is pretty much the basis of what they do. After that, they just say, is there anything else you want me to know? Anything that I should put down in your report? And the reason that they're usually taking notes or typing into a laptop or something while you're talking, the reason why is because they're there to basically write up a report on you, and this can be forwarded either to your primary care physician or your counselor or therapist if you're either have an existing counselor or therapist, or if you're going to get a counselor or therapist, or to any office where you may be applying for insurance or any type of benefits or any type of assistance or anything like that. So they're basically, their job is to kind of diagnose you in a way so that maybe your doctor would know what path to take with getting you help, or things of that nature. You know, the circumstances are varied, but they do have you sign a disclosure, and usually this happens before they even start talking to you. And it basically says that everything that you say in the appointment is confidential, and it will only be shared with whoever you're intending it to be shared with. Meaning, for me, it was a social worker. For you, it could be a social worker, a counselor, your primary care physician, your therapist, if you're in treatment, your treatment center, etc. The only thing that they add on there, they say the only way that they would share your information is if you were a danger to yourself or to others, meaning if you were suicidal or homicidal. So you don't have to worry that
Ooh,
what you say is going to be public
caveats.
record, or that they're going to share it with anybody. If you are under the age of 18, you might want to double check with them that that they might not be able to tell your parents. I'm not really sure if your parents would get a copy. I never personally get my own copies of these things. They just go to the doctor, but you can request them if you want to. For me, sometimes I'd rather just not see, but some people would like to. So anyway, that is the gist of it. And I'm glad that I got it over with. It was a little bit stressful, and I don't like getting it done. I don't like facing my problems or my issues or talking to complete strangers about things that I'm going through. But I know it is important, because if I do get placed with a counselor or go into some kind of therapy, that this will be important for them to be able to see these records and know kind of where to go. And when I go in for my doctor's appointment, which I haven't yet for the physical and stuff, I am going to talk to them about anxiety medication and whatnot. So this will help the doctor to see that I maybe have been diagnosed with anxiety and things of that nature. So I know it's scary, but just be truthful and honest, and go in there and think that you have the right to say no. You have the right not to answer a question, and the ball's in your court. Nobody is the boss of you. You can choose. So I hope that helped someone out there if you're going to be going through this. If you have any other questions about it, feel free to leave me a comment below. Or if you've experienced something totally different than that in an evaluation of any sort, please share in the comments, because I definitely like to read them, and I know it really helps other people to discuss and read what other people have been through. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you so soon. I hope that your weather is nice, and if it is, please go out and enjoy some sunshine for me. It'll make you feel better. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Okay, let's start honing in.
Relatively common symptom of schizophrenia are homicidal thoughts or homicidal ideation, and that's what Simon Marshall experienced before he pushed someone in front of a subway and killed them. And I don't think people should be put in prison or psychiatric institutions for years and years when they're just experiencing a symptom of an illness, just like a diabetic might experience low blood sugar because they're,
I mean,
you
it's a
know,
little different
their
when you have
glucose is
homicidal ideation.
dropping.
It infects other
Relatively
people
common symptom of
rather
schizophrenia
than
are homicidal
potentially can
thoughts
affect other people, I
or
should
homicidal
say.
ideation, and that's what
If
Simon
taken
Marshall
into action.
experienced before
Well,
he
diabetic, they
pushed
take
someone
things
in
into
front of
action like
a
stuffing
subway
cupcakes
and
in their face
killed
and
them.
become
And
fatties.
I don't think
Just
people
kidding, I'm
should
being an
be
asshole.
put in prison or
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, a little bit different than, uh, not that I'm saying you should put me in prison, guys. I'm just saying that, like, it's a little bit more nuanced than just like, "Ooh, it's like diabetes." No, it's not like diabetes. If it was like diabetes, I wouldn't care, and I wouldn't be willing to spend $2,000 to get a fucking assessment. If it was diabetes, I'd just be like, "Oh, okay, doc, I probably have diabetes. Can I get some fucking insulin or some bullshit. I don't fucking know. Probably cheaper than a mental health evaluation pills. Oh wow, sounds
So
fun.
this is a fun way to start out 2017. If you follow my Twitter, you know that I was in the hospital for a while. And many of you know that it may or may not have been a mental hospital. Spoiler, it was. That's why I'm making this video. So this video is going to tell you guys what it's like to be in a mental hospital, because I think it's glorified. And I didn't know what to expect. Hopefully, you don't ever have to go to one, but knowledge is power. So basically, I was up a 5150. So that means I was on a involuntary 72-hour hold within the facility. The facility that I was staying in, I'm not going to mention, but I mean, I don't expect to have any more experiences within mental hospitals. I don't have anything to compare this one to, but this is how this particular one was ran. So I was taken from my hometown to this other facility because my hometown does not have a psych ward within their hospital. So I was taken to a hospital 40 minutes away. I had to be wheeled in on a gurney, which so extra, so extra. Didn't need to do that. Could have walked, but that's side the point. I get it, policies or whatever. Then I was greeted by the not nurses, mental health workers. They took my clothes, which at the time was just a hospital robe because the previous hospital already took my clothes. They took my clothes, examined them, making sure there was nothing sharp or anything on them. They said, you can't wear this because it's indecent, and it was a dress and tights. And they wouldn't let me wear my shoes because they had strings on them. So I was stuck in a hospital robe until someone could bring me clothes to wear. What they did was they had me unrobe, completely nude, and just look over my body real fast to make sure I didn't have any cuts, scars, or like damage to my body. So that was weird and super uncomfortable for me. Once that was over, they asked if I would like to take a shower. They had shampoo and body wash. They had toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, lotion. That's what we want to call it. And they gave me a towel, a fresh robe, and these like cotton underwear, which I was like, no, it's fine. I changed before I went to the hospital yesterday. I don't want those. Took a shower, which the shower didn't ever get hot. 2, flooded. So that's great. And I learned afterwards, because I immediately went and lay down in my room and just kind of napped because I didn't know what else to do because nobody came to talk to me. Not a nurse, not the psychiatrist, not a doctor, nobody. Nobody. For 6 hours, nobody talked to me. It was just, and then at that point, it was just like, hey, it's, I don't even know what it was called, like group time, but like it was to explain what goes on in the hospital and you had to listen to it every day. But nobody talked to me. So I was like, hey, where's the doctor? Kind of would like to speak to him because I would like to leave when my 72 hours are up. And they said to me, you missed him when you were in the shower. He was looking for you, but you were in the shower, so he left. Homeboy couldn't wait like 5-10 minutes for a patient who was just taken 40 minutes in an ambulance and spent all night in an ER to get out of a shower to talk to them. So I had to wait until the next day. But the next day came. I didn't get up for breakfast because you have to go to bed at 9 p.m. and you have to get up at like 7 something for breakfast. I'm not about that ever. I'm not a breakfast person. I'm not a morning person. I don't like the idea of eating
Yeah,
really
I
early
feel
in
like
the
I'd
morning. I just
fucking
don't.
shove
Feel
someone
my
off a roof,
So I
start
missed
talking about
breakfast and go to the
primordialism.
first group activity time because it was at like 8
We're gonna
something.
actually shove someone
And
off
the
a roof.
doctor came
I
in
would
eventually
definitely talk
at
about
9 a.m.
primordialism though.
He said, you know, what happened, which I am not going to say in a video. I told him what medication I
Some
was on,
patients would
and that was about it.
be
The
more
same
mentally
information I had been
unstable
telling
than
everybody
they
previous to
came
him.
in
He was like,
if I was
okay,
in a
and then
ward.
left. 2 minutes tops. What? How are you a practicing psychiatrist when you don't even talk to your patients? But okay, I digress. Whatever. Then there's lunch. And lunch, let me tell you, not great. It was on fish, or that's what they told us. Nothing has salt. Nothing has caffeine in it. Is there sugar in it? Probably not. So that day I went through a Olivia Eats Poorly detox where I got a caffeine headache, I sugar dropped, like it just everything at once. And there's like 4 group times where you get to color and you get to watch TV and talk about your feelings. But nobody talks about their feelings really. We just kind of color in silence and watch TV. And there's snacks. Snacks consisted of granola bars that I couldn't eat because I'm allergic to peanuts, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that I couldn't eat because I'm allergic to peanuts, which is the thing I told them. I said explicitly, I am so allergic that I cannot be in the same room as someone eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I go into anaphylactic shock, and they, okay, put it on my little dietary thing, cool. Still didn't get anything. I had like graham crackers most of the time because couldn't really eat anything.
Graham
Also
crackers
said,
are
hey,
not
lactose
vegan.
intolerant, super lactose intolerant. I will vomit all over you if I have dairy. And they just gave us milk. And I was like, food was super bland. We had chicken at one point, and it was beige. You know those memes where it's like white people can't put spices on anything? That's literally hospital food. Disgusting. And also very, very dry. And all I had was water and non-caffeinated tea and decaf coffee. Basically, don't want to go back there. Beds were nice, like memory foam, but the blankets are thin, so are the pillows, and you can't do anything. Like, the phone is in a hallway on a payphone. You can't have pencils or crayons or pens in your room for obvious reasons, and only like non-paperback books, which makes sense. But like, yeah, that's about it. And then you're limited to what you can watch on TV because you have to share with like 10 other people. So it was really boring, but it was really good because I got to think about things a lot and figure out my life and what led me there. And now I am on the road to fixing it. So, I mean, I don't recommend you just hitting rock bottom and having to go to a mental hospital to figure out your life. But if you can just like take like an hour each day maybe and write down like your goals for that day and goals for tomorrow and how you're going to accomplish those goals. And because that was the thing that made us do was write down our daily goal and what steps we were going to do them and how we were feeling that day. And I think that was really
I
good.
have no daily
that's something
goals.
I suggest.
Why would I have
Writing how
any
you feel
daily
in the
goals
morning,
besides
writing a goal for that day
prevent
that you're going to
suffering?
reach
Try
that goal, and
to
then at night say again how you feel.
do
Did you
that
reach your
while
goal? Why
being
or why not? If not,
entertained
well,
and
can you
not
do it for
suicidal
me? That's my
with
experience,
myself.
and I don't want to go back. I don't ever have plans to go back, and it I think prison would have been better. So today you're going to meet my beautiful mother. So there's a tag on the internet called the Meet My Mom tag, and I know one of the questions.
I feel like that's disingenuous. She's never been to prison, so she is just being exaggerating. Honestly, probably related to whatever disorder got her there in the first place, 'cause she didn't say that. Let's take another gander. Hmm. What was the phrasing of her video? Mental hospital. Four things not to say to your therapist. Oh, okay.
Don't know how to tell if they're even good at their jobs, since most of what you tell a therapist is held in strict confidence, meaning, this is important, that they legally cannot tell anyone or they could lose their license. It's safe to say that you can be honest with them. You can speak your mind, but there are some things that you shouldn't tell them. Here are 4 things you should never tell your therapist. Number 1, lies. Not telling us the truth about your situation or what you're going through is only going to
Fuck
hold
off.
you back and make therapy either ineffective or slower than it
I'm
needs to
not
be.
gonna
I've had so
lie.
many
I
patients
just
lie
want
to me
to
over
know.
the years, and I know that we can sometimes
Well,
do it because
kind of will.
we're scared to tell them the truth
But
or worried that they're going to judge us.
it's
Or
impossible
2,
to die when
pretending
you're a
to be doing
psychopath.
better than you are.
Christ.
I've had so many patients tell me that they are doing great, only to find out weeks or sometimes even months later that they really aren't. And this has happened a lot with my eating disorder patients
Hey,
telling me
man.
they're following their meal plan and not overdoing on the exercise, Katie, don't worry, or managing any of our urges to binge or purge, which leads me to telling them that they need to see their regular doctor before we see each other again. I often won't even make another appointment with them until they do so we can figure out why they're still gaining or losing this weight. And this wastes their time and money. This happens with my BPD patients a lot, and it almost worse than we are to continue getting help. This happens with my BPD patients a lot, and it almost always backfires with me thinking that the help I'm able to offer isn't enough and they need a higher level of care. So I try and refer them out, which is exactly what they didn't want to have happen. Remember, a therapist can't read your mind. If we think that you're just continuing to get worse or that the resources and tools we're offering aren't helping, we're going to look into other ways for you to get better. This could mean that we think you need a day program or maybe hospitalization or possibly just a different therapist altogether. And if this has been going on for a while, it's going to be hard for you to convince us that you're actually doing much better. We can be confused by this and think that now you're just pretending that you're better to stay with us. And the 4th thing we shouldn't tell our therapist is that this is working great when it's not. If something isn't going to work for you or the advice that we offered isn't relatable, please tell us. It's our job to try and offer something we think could help. And it's your job as a patient to give it a try and let us know if it's helpful or not. Or if you
Why
know
would
that you're
giving
perfectly able
things
to
a
do something.
try?
Like if what
I
I'm asking you
just
to do or the homework
don't
I've given
think
you
it's
is just too much,
beneficial in any
if you know
way.
yourself, right? And that's not something that you would enjoy, for example, or something you feel able to do, please let me know. It doesn't help anybody for you to pretend.
What is a psychological evaluation?
Hello, I'm Dr. Timothy Tice.
Hello,
psychiatrist,
I'm Dr.
and
Timothy
I need to talk to you today about
Tice.
what's involved in a psychiatric evaluation.
What is
Persons
involved?
come to see me with issues that may complicate their medical condition, such as
Medical
anxiety,
condition,
elevated mood,
anxiety,
depression,
depression,
disturbances in attention,
disturbances,
sleep,
attention,
and various other problems.
mhm,
In a psychiatric interview, I
various other
typically begin
problems.
by asking an individual to tell me about what it is
Blinks
they're concerned about,
fucking way too often.
and then we explore together the nature of their symptoms.
Got
When they
glasses,
began,
man, like
what the
shielding your
effect it
face, home
the
slice. Like,
circumstances in
what's
which those
going on?
symptoms
It's not
occur,
even like a
and
draft in your
others
office
who
or something.
may have observed those symptoms and how they've affected the individual, how they've affected also the persons around them, how that person interacts with significant others and such as family or friends, and how those symptoms may impact sleep, how they may impact their sense of physical well-being, pain, their emotional well-being, their ability to function in school or in work or socially. And after exploring the duration, the timing, and the various aspects of those symptoms, then we'll discuss what a likely etiology or explore what the reasons for those symptoms, what other factors might be involved as far as a person's physical health or different patterns of behavior. After learning about those presenting symptoms and what's involved in that for an individual, I tend to inquire about what a person's past psychiatric history has been. What other counselors or psychologists or individuals have they seen? Sometimes I'm the first individual they've seen, but often a person has seen someone else, if not at least their primary care physician, and have attempted to address the issues of concern with that individual. Upon understanding that past history and what's been done to try to address those symptoms, that also gives us important clues about how we might then look at and understand those problems and then address them perhaps in a different way, or maybe use some of the things that have been successful in the past and add to those things to help improve a person's condition. Next, it's important to learn about family psychiatric history. Often there are relatives who have suffered similar conditions or related conditions, and learning about what a person's relatives have encountered, what has been successful in helping those relatives, as well as things that have not worked at all for those relatives, it can often give us clues as to what may be helpful for the individual themselves. And then to learn about the medical history of the family, pertinent things that might be important as we consider various treatment options and might indeed complicate and have an overlay as to causing psychiatric symptoms among various different medical conditions. Then I inquire about the medical history of an individual and learn about the specifics of different things that they've encountered, prior physical symptoms, as well as perhaps surgeries when their last physical exams and labs have been done, what the results of those various tests and surgeries have been, and understand how those issues may be impacting the individual. And then I'll inquire about nutrition and a person's habits. What do they take vitamins or medications? Are they consuming has been? Many times persons have tried various herbal therapies as well, or tried for that individual. Next, I'll inquire about developmental history. What were things like for the individual's mother while they were pregnant with that person? What were things like with the labor and delivery?
How the fuck am I
Family
supposed to
members
know?
and significant others, particularly as one is as growing up, and how that may give us.
Oh my god. Okay. Like, $1,000. Be like, I don't know, man. How the fuck am I supposed to teleport back to the womb? Should I have brought my mom? Why did you ask me this question if I wasn't gonna bring my mom? Like shit like that. Like maybe you should have given me an email ahead of time to ask my parents this if it was such an important evaluative question for my psychology. Big guy, I'm paying you 2K. Like what the fuck? But yeah, no, I'm just getting pissed off at the world and its nature. So let's not watch any more of those. Hmm. Who knows? What should I do? Should I end the broadcast? Should I start the broadcast afterwards and sing some hunky dory songs? Should I look up some information? Yes, let's look up information. Let's do that. That sounds engaging. Hmm. That's a very weak scale. Hmm. Howdy, howdy. What is that? Was weird. Okay. Um, person tried to join, didn't join. That was scary. What was scary, my dude? If you were interacting with me, in the chat, my apologies. I haven't been really paying attention. I've been just, staring intently at the camera, but not really, because I've been looking at the screen typing things, just looking at, psychological evaluation shit. So if you just see me intently staring at the camera, that was me just reading. It may look a little scary. Wait, you can stream with friends like that? Yeah, my dude. If you click that link, then you can join through, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. So yeah, you can join me in here if you want to, and we can talk, or you can just talk for there. OBS, I'm not entirely sure, but I know most people can use this. I can talk on my laptop through this. I can use my Android. I know some people can talk through. I'm not sure if it works for Apple products at all, but this is called StreamYard. So if you look it up for, it's here, you can see it in the corner, the little StreamYard logo. But yeah, you can use if you look up StreamYard, you can find out any questions regarding that. Hell yeah, it is. It's pretty dope. But yeah, we're just doing a little short live stream today about mental health and stuff. I'm looking up. Basically, I have a psychological evaluation scheduled this August, a voluntary one, and people are telling me not to go to the psychological evaluation. They're like, "Yo, bro, you're kind of low key crazy, but you're also like very smart and very like necessary for like the movement. You're a really good guy." But you're also crazy as shit. And I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. And they're like, yo, you're gonna get institutionalized if you go for the psychological evaluation. You do realize that. And I'm like, it's a possibility. So, and by that I mean the strong possibility. I'm trying to get into streaming. It's nerve wracking. No, definitely go. It's so important. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though. I have like, don't think they will institutionalize UXD. Yo, man, I'm a psychopath. So when it comes down to it, psychopaths have a very long, very range of desires. We have a lot. There's a lot of big range. Yeah, well, who isn't? That's fair. But here's the thing: there's pro-social psychopaths and there's non-pro-social psychopaths. I'm in the middle of that. I'm in the middle of the pack, baby. There's like the non-pro-social ones, which will be like, "Hey, man, you looking at me? You want to fight?" And then they start throwing fists, and you're like, they're antisocial purely. They just don't have any impulse control. They're throwing fists. Then there's the pro-social ones, which are just like, I'm just gonna manipulate the shit out of y'all, and I'm gonna make it to the top, baby. And then there's me. I have homicidal ideation. I kind of lie a fuck ton. I manipulate people. And I also at the same time am pretty truthful and I like pretty honest with people and loyal with my friends and have uh desire to function in society and do good things and basically make the world a better place. Because I believe I'm a moral agent, just like you are a moral agent, and everybody else is a moral agent who's a human being who's cognitively not impaired. So essentially, well, an adult human being who's not cognitively impaired. So yeah, basically, I'm So you'll be a good streamer. Potentially, I'll be a good streamer. I mean, people tend to like me so far that watch me. They're like, "Hey, you have a nice face, and you're pretty upbeat for a psychopath. Yeah, for a person who's psychopathic and depressed, you're pretty upbeat." And I'm like, hell yeah, man. The depression, I keep that on the inside, for everybody else, for their pleasure. I will keep it on the inside for the most part. Every once in a while, I have a little bit of a sad boy moment, but, that's just to keep things relatable. You gotta keep things relatable for all y'all viewers. Can't be a complete automata at all times. But, yeah, basically, I might be a good streamer, maybe. Um, we'll find out. But I like to talk about mental health and philosophy, basically. I basically engage in philosophy for the most part, just talking about ethics, what's right and wrong, what people ought to do and ought not to do. Which is why a lot of people think I'm not a psychopath, is because I'm engaged in ethics so heavily and I care about ethics quite a bit. But, I'm just saying, Hannibal Lecter also cared about ethics quite a bit. He just didn't take them into account. I take them into account, but, that's because I'm a very disciplined motherfucker. And so, a lot of people aren't disciplined, unfortunately. People don't really have the ability to hold back. And I've been, holding back homicidal ideation and desire to just beat the fuck out of people for years. So when it comes down to it, I'm also a short guy. So it's not like I probably could. So when it comes down to it, that's part of the reason why I've resisted fighting people because I'm intelligent. I realize you're a scrawny mofo. You can get angry and you can throw the first punch, and the first punch statistically determines the fight. But if you're a scrawny little bitch, it might not help you very much. So that was basically my self-assessment back in the day, and so I didn't get into fights ever. I've gotten close to getting into fights, but that's mainly if they're like picking on like someone that I like was considered an in-group member, because then it's more than just me who would be in the fight. And don't pick on an angry member because it's basically like picking on me, as it's an extension of that, because I don't have much. I'm just basically a hollow vessel. And so if you pick on the in group, you're basically just picking on an extension of me, because if you're bullying them, you're bullying like an image that I'm associated with. And I'm like, no boy, no, that's basically picking on me. And so basically I'll get angry if someone picks on the in group member from an out group, and stuff like that. So I've almost gotten a few fights when that has occurred in the past. But for the most part, I'm willing to keep my cool. Uh, so I've never gotten to a physical altercation outside of familial things with my brother. So which only occurred in my youth. So, but yeah, when it comes down to it, who knows? So worth going to psychological evaluation. You think so? You seem like a chill dude. Um, a bunch of my other viewers and subscribers are like, "Yo, bro, if you have homicidal ideation, you're gonna get locked up, man." And I'm like, "Hey, man, I've had way worse homicidal ideation, like 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. It's never gone away." Are you highly educated as well? I had 3 years of college, got all the way to my end of my junior year, and essentially once I got to my end of my junior year, the big unfortunate happened. I went to a private college. So when I was in high school, I was just like, that was when I was really homicidal and shit. When I was in middle school a little bit too, I just drunk my ass off and got the strength to kill myself. Hey man, when it comes down to it, we can talk about promortalism and ethics of suicide if you want, but for the moment, chill out, you might have potential to become a better person than you currently are. And I may be a psychopath, but I at least am a logical person. So everybody who's a moral agent, including yourself, have oh, awesome. Glad you're feeling better. Have the potential to be a better person. And if you can grow as a better person to the point where you're preventing suffering for other people, then, that's good. But if you're gonna be a person who's a blight to the world, well then, hey man, if you're a blight to the world, I can only say, what do we do with blights? We uproot them. But, you seem like a pleasant dude, so far. But yeah, yeah, I should definitely. Am I highly educated? Was the comment that was getting earlier? Boom, boom, boom. Um, 3 years of college. Well, technically about 4 years of college. I got like 2 years or general education at a local tech school. Transferred those credits. Not all of them transferred. So I was like, fuck. And then I took 3 years of college at a private college, which costs like 20K a year. But my mother works there, so it's free. So it is like a quite nice school. Unfortunately, I was required to take Spanish. I took Spanish, and highly educated means nothing. It does mean nothing. It's basically just status stuff. You're just paying money so you can get connections. Basically, it's bullshit. Um, so yeah, high education means nothing. It's just status connection. But yeah, but when it comes down to it, I went to a prestigious 20K school. Um, and yeah, once I get to the Spanish part though, it was just like, fuck. I tried it like 2 or 3 times. I'm horrible at Spanish, guys. I cannot do foreign languages for shit for multiple reasons. One, I'm just not programmed in that way that I'm good at learning foreign languages. Two, I'm a cultural annihilationist, meaning I think that we should all just be like the human species, and culture just basically leads to warfare, and culture leads to separation, and basically the giver, where it's just everything's just black and white, everybody's just like assigned jobs and stuff and just does their thing. I like that. That sounds pretty mint to me. So, but tribalism is not bad. I don't know, man. I think tribalism is kind of bad. So, just be open. I mean, I think that I'm an open person, but when it comes down to it, be open without being hurtful. There's a certain level of openness so be it can be, and tribalism is weird because it's like being completely open about certain hateful things towards people, and not open about certain things that would be mean towards your in group, and it's just kind of like this weird, like it's like just be open, but oh yeah, at some point you're gonna be hurtful to someone, but I'm a utilitarian, so I'm not a deontologist. I don't, which basically means I don't think there's like hard rules that can never be broken. That like, oh, it's like, oh, we're gonna break them anyway, so it's like you can just give up and do whatever you want. I don't think that. I think that everything's just a measurement of pain and pleasure. We know experience generates value. There's a difference between things that have brains and things that don't have brains. So when it comes down to it, like what matters is the experience of those things that have brains and awareness and have an experience and preferences. And those experiences can be basically broken down into pain and pleasure if you believe pleasure is such a thing. I'm a guy that doesn't give a shit if nobody I care is speaking about me. No, it's fair. I mean, hey man, I have cognitive empathy. I don't have effective empathy. I have straight up like, I mean, I have cognitive empathy up the wazoo, man. I understand what's going on, um, in terms of people's brains, why they're thinking what they do, why they do what they do, why I should do certain things or shouldn't do certain things because it affects people in certain ways. But when it comes down to it, I don't feel other people. Like, quite frankly, I'm a sadist and psychopath when it comes down to other people's feelings. Like I have homicidal ideation stuff. Like frankly, I couldn't care less very much when it comes down to other people's suffering, except for the fact that their suffering gets me off. Quite literally. So when it comes down to it, do I have enough empathy? Yeah, I care not for you, and you care not for me. Indeed. And we are okay with that. Indeed. So it's kind of just like I don't care for you, you don't care for me, that's cool. But here's the difference. If you were to be in severe pain, and I were to be in severe pain, and you had to, like, potentially go through pain that was lesser than the pain I'm going through to prevent me from going through more pain, would you do that? Because for me, I believe I have a moral obligation to go through suffering to prevent a greater suffering. It's just utilitarianism, basically. Just as is like a trolley problem, like one person on a track or five people on a track, do you pull the lever to change it to the to divert the track from the five people into the one person? It's basically I don't. I think I'm selfish. Well, that's just an illogical assessment at the moment. Just as you think everybody's selfish, all people are selfish. There's no such thing as a non-selfish action. Basically, if you take an action, it is going to be selfish, my dude. It's impossible for it not to be selfish. Um, if you like everything we do is because we desire it, essentially. But when it comes down to it, you can have a logical assessment of basically we don't exist, by the way. So when you say I don't and I think I'm selfish, it becomes a little bit easier to be less traditionally selfish. Um, it becomes easier to become less traditionally selfish once you realize that the I is kind of an illusion, that there's no continued sense of self. One, Um, and two, there is no such thing as being like not selfish. It's just all things are psychological hedonism. We're basically motivated by desires, and all those desires we cannot control. We can't control what we want, but we only do what we want. Basically, I'm not here. Nobody is agreeing with you. Fair enough. But when it comes down to it, yeah, I mean, what was my point? Fuck. We okay if I think I'm selfish. I don't. I think I'm selfish. But yeah, you may be selfish in a traditional sense, but you can limit that selfishness by realizing that there is no sense of self, and that your $5 is just as valuable as my $5. But then we can have a beer and have a laugh, right? I don't like beer unless it's apple. When it comes down to it, I'm a psychopath. Am I capable of laughing with anybody and having a good time? Yes. Cider, sure, I like cider. Um, if I'm willing, I'm a psychopath. I can blend in with any crowd like that, and like I can do things like I can get on with people even if I hate their fucking guts. But when it comes down to it, I have plenty of friends, so it's like we could get a drink hypothetically, but if we have major disagreements and we're not pre-established friends, I'm probably not gonna. Who are you hating? I don't really like hate anybody per se anymore, specifically. I just hate human nature, and I dislike people that I guess you have nihilistic point of view. No, nihilists don't believe anything matters. I believe pain and pleasure matters. Nihilists don't believe anything matters. Um, Nihilists are just kind of like, the world is chaos and there's nothing of any control. Everything's an illusion, and I have nothing that I can say is right or wrong. Throwing a baby off of a cliff, juggling someone's head, helping a homeless person, all equivalent in value. Nothing matters. You know, Why are you sounding like the next Batman? I was more trying to do like Owlman, but Owlman is like basically Batman, so I mean like same thing. But they're from the same universe, DC. So, but when it comes down to it, yeah, Owlman's an awesome character, but I'm not Owlman. I believe there is value in the universe. As I said, experience generates value. So it's like there's a difference between me and this vape. This vape doesn't have a mind. Hey, you smile a little? Oh, I smile all the time. I just, I mean, I smile all the time, my dude. And there's plenty to smile about in the world. Smiling releases happy chemicals, and happy chemicals make me feel good. So I smile purposely all the time. Um, and I have the ability to smile, and I do it a lot. But I just have to have a reason to smile. I have to find something funny. I don't smile outside unless I only smile like when I find something funny or if I'm trying to artificially induce happiness. But I do care about things. I do care about things. It's just not as much as other people do. But yeah, I'm not a nihilist. I do care about things. I do believe in value. Just as have you heard of Nagel? The what's it like to be a bad idea. Like we can never know what it's like to be a bat because we don't have bat like sensory experience and stuff. But there is something what it's like to be a bat. But there is nothing what it's like to be a vape or the chair behind me or a plant because the plants don't have minds, chairs don't have minds, this vape doesn't have a mind. This is just you know, a cartridge, it's not its head. So basically, there's a difference between non-mind things and minds. And when it comes down to the mind things, experience things, and those experiences are positive or negative. And it's hard for me, in fact, it's impossible for me to deny that experience has value because it's quite literally the only thing that it's experienced as having value. Like it quite literally generates value when you're experiencing it. Like if you shove a nail through your hand, you're gonna be like, ah. So, oh, some people don't have minds. I understand you, but I'm not agreeing. No, I mean, I know what you're referring to. The studies that say 50 to 70% of people do not have inner monologues. No, they don't. They do have minds. They are sentient. Sentient means experiencing and or feeling and having preferences. These people have preferences. If you were to shove a nail through their hand, they're going to be like, "Ow, that sucks," and they're going to be like in just as much pain as you are. So people have minds and people have preferences, but people don't all have consciousness. Not all humans have inner monologue. Not all people have consciousness. And that's a real damn shame because those people I don't consider moral agents, really, or at least I consider them lesser moral agents. Um, they have the potential to be moral agents, but they lack a lot of the qualities that I consider necessary for moral agency. So 50 to 70% of people have no inner monologue. Like how I'm talking to you out loud, this is how I think inside my mind constantly. It's like if unless I'm taking in information, my mind's constantly outputting information basically. Like if I'm really tired, my mind goes quiet, okay? If I'm not really tired and I'm not listening to something or listening to someone talk, I'm constantly talking in my mind like I'm talking right now. Some people, they don't have that. They think in images. Shit, now I'm curious how empty mind is feeling. It's scary, bro. Have you ever seen fucking videos? It's terrifying. It makes me feel it makes me wish that like these people didn't exist, man. I wish I could blink them out of existence like Thanos. It makes me wonder like how these people's like brains operate. Like what is going on in this world? Like how do politics operate? How does I'm generally curious how these people change their mind. Like if you're like raised in the conservative South, like born again, like I'm a born again Baptist Christian, yee yee, and you don't have an internal monologue, how are you gonna change your mind? Or if they're empty, if they're not good or evil. I don't believe in good or evil. I just believe in consequences of actions. So when it comes down to it, no one has free will. We're just doing things that are programmed into us. Everything we do is based off of what we desire. I don't believe in good or evil per se. I just believe that things we do hurt people or they help people. And these people basically don't have the ability to realize that if they're hurting people, it's a bad thing because all they can. Who programmed you? Evolution, baby. Evolution programmed all of us. These people just had different diverging path of evolution basically and similar enough that we could reproduce with them, but their minds operate in different ways, and unfortunately for them that means they're less social pro-social. They're less pro-social person, But when it comes down to it, yeah, they're still sentient. They still are social enough to engage in society. Can you be happy then? I have internal monologue. Can I be happy? I can get happy. Yeah, I'm a happy dude for the most part. I mean, I also have chronic depression, so I mean, I'm not very happy. But can I be happy? Yeah. I mean, I'm not in a bad mood right now. I mean, I'm not in a pleasant mood either, I guess, but not in a bad mood. So, you know, can I be in a good mood when I'm hanging out with friends or watching a funny video or like watching a cool anime or some show that I enjoy? Yeah. Am I happy when I'm drunk? So sorry if I will be offensive. No, I don't get offended by things. The only way you could offend me is by like calling me ugly or basically insulting my philosophical views without justification because I basically am a husk of a human being. Like, sure, there's like the hardwire of my brain, which is pretty consistent. So I'm like a funny dude with like quirks and stuff, and everybody has their own quirks. But when it comes down to it, outside of those quirks and those inconsistencies, there's very little substance to me as a person. Um, I'm kind of just here, I guess. Yeah, I can see your deadpan jokes. Yeah, basically. So, so yeah, I'm kind of just like a hollow person. I'm not fully hollow. I have plenty of energy in here. People like hanging out with me. I have plenty of friends. I can match the energy of the mood of the room. I kind of just bounce my feelings off of other people. Um, but when it comes down to it, yeah, I can be happy and I can, but it's not a whole lot of reason to be happy in this world, and there's not a whole lot of reason to be like. There's a lot of reasons to be sad in this world, guys. There's a lot of reasons to be pissed off as shit about this fucking world. But when it comes down to it, you should probably be as stoic as you possibly can. So I try to remain as stoic as I possibly can. It helps that I'm a psychopath, probably. So, um, So, being a psychopath has its perks. Wow, it has its perks. You can not care about things. You can have chronic depression. Oh wait, that's not a perk. Just kidding. But it's good because like you have low neuroticism. Your suicidality is generally low until you discover that there's no fucking purpose to life. And then you're like, oh shit, there's no fucking purpose to life. And then you have to do a big think. Hey, how's it going? My favorite fellow, who's my favorite crazy shit fellow. You was bombing my just another YouTuber friend. Fellow Ephesus comrade. Love you. How's it going? On a subjective level, of course. Objectively, life is miserable, life is shit. But yeah. But if you think about it, suicide won't help anyone. That's what you think. You're wrong. Um, in fact, I think suicide would be the best thing for a majority of the people on the planet right now. If people don't change who they are and become a better person, they may as well put a round through their own head. Because when it comes down to it, most people, 99.9% of people on this planet, are blights to the fucking earth. Waste of space, waste of oxygen. They have the potential as moral agents to be good, to be useful. I can attempt to be a better person than I am. Exactly, and I hope you become a better person. We all have potential to become better people, and we all should strive to become better people. And when it comes down to it, most people are not meeting the basic qualifications uh, to be a good, decent, moral agent. Most people are bad human beings. They do not meet the qualifications. So I was saying I need to know what's the FLS plan before I'm talking to people about something unpleasant. You might need to elaborate, just another YouTuber. So say I need to know what's the effortless plan before I'm talking with people about something unpleasant. I don't know what you mean, bro. You don't need to know what the effortless plan is, anyways. It's just negative utilitarianism. You just, taking negative utilitarianism and assess everything off of that. You didn't assess it from a effortless lens. Effortlism is a good, useful tool, but I'd assess everything from negative utilitarianism first. What you plan for another week? I don't really plan ahead into the week, my dude. But basically, tomorrow work, Friday work, Saturday work, Sunday work in D&D. But today I have an orientation for a brand new job. Yay! Because I kind of hate the job that I'm at now, so I started job searching on like Monday or whatever, and basically got a job within 2 days, and I was like, cool. So, orientation's today, so I'm gonna go to that in like 5 hours or whatever, 5 hours and 30 minutes. So that's what I'm doing today for my plans. It's basically just go to a job orientation, see how I like that. Hopefully, it'll be entertaining. Not really. Hopefully, it will not be too grudging. And yeah, I'll have a jolly-go-lucky time working as a wage slave for a new company. And yeah, that's basically my plan for today. Is get myself orientated. Exactly indicate what Gary's plan. Exactly indicate what Mendham's plan. Well, Gary doesn't have a plan yet. I don't know if Gary ever will have a plan. Gary's plan is basically do what we're doing right now, which is try to spread the information to people who can actually do something, aka like try to convince someone who's rich, who has donors, try to convince someone who has a degree in like bioengineering and can like do something in the field, convince someone who has like basically the idea is to convince as many people of effortism, antinatalism, and negative utilitarianism, primordialism, all that type of stuff in general. And once you convince people eventually, so how is this philosophy going to actualize? Well, once most people, how is anything going to actualize, Big G? Why cushy couch and not wooden chair? Well, this is my parents. This is my parents' house, so I mean, one, I like cushy things. It's comfy, I guess. And two, it's not my chair, so I guess I'm just sitting in it because it's comfy and near an outlet. Um, just another YouTuber. I know you want to go and just light up a place, but when it comes down to it, how do things actualize in democracy, bro? How does capitalism get to be? How does society get to be? You can't fathom. If you were to ask someone 100 years ago with their little pea brains, they're just gonna. Do you think it's possible for there to be hovering vehicles with propellers in the future and building is that reach the sky and that reach clouds? They'd be like, no, that's literally impossible. The buildings would fall apart. Here we fucking are, Big Chief. The moral of the story is with humans working together, talking to each other, sorting things out through systems. Yeah, and women can have penises, bro. As women can have big futanari cocks now in 2023. And this is all because of technology. They never would have thought this possible in the past. And so now that okay, so if we convince people what happens, well then people start fucking implementing systematic things into the government so that we cannot procreate. One, people can't breed animals into existence. Two, we have hunting initiatives. 3, we have genetic engineering programs where the government incentivized jobs to essentially cause infertility. 4, all these things. What do you think will happen, baby? Capitalism. Capitalism is going to happen. The system's just going to basically turn its gears, but it's going to have it in the direction of an ethicist movement of like trying to prevent suffering. We are on par with auto destruction. We are kind of auto destructing, yeah, but when it comes down to, we're not destructing fast enough, in my opinion. The planet, humanity might collapse, but life will remain after humanity collapses, and that's not a good thing. Humans have a moral obligation to wipe out all sentient life on Earth before we go, in my opinion. So I believe that humans should, start engaging in those practices. Just another YouTuber here believes that also, but he's also a nihilist who wants to just like be homicidal and shit. So okay, but except hunting, that is ephilism necessary to combat hunting? What do you mean, combat hunting? Except hunting, that is. Oh, but except hunting, that is ephilism necessary to combat hunting? I think hunting is a good thing for ephilists to do. Given pro-mortalism, death is not bad for the ones who die. So hunting is a good thing to do. If you hunt deer, you're just ending a deer's life that would have died from a predator or the elements, which is far worse. Do you think there was a society before our belief, for ours, before our beliefs, belief? I don't think so, man. I mean, I don't know what you mean. If you mean like great resets, yeah, large. If you mean like great reset stuff, no, I don't believe in the great reset. If you believe like other colonies of Native Americans in America before us, unfortunately, we wiped them out. We slaughtered them all, give them the bubonic plague. No, but we didn't do that. We give them the smallpox blankets. We give them the pox, man, the pocky boas. Give them the cool blankets, the itchy, the danger itch. Oh, the Atlantis? No, I don't believe in Atlantis. Nah, I don't believe in the Atlantis or giants or the Nephilim or any of that stuff. Do you see them voluntarily wiping the planet? Just another YouTuber asks, if we can convince a majority of people of effluism, then we can wipe out the planet, my dude. It doesn't take. Well, here's the thing. Look at it now. We accidentally have wiped out like 90% of species that have ever existed on this planet by just being ourselves. If we can convince 25, 50% of people on the planet to have negative utilitarianism as their primary ethical theory, then we can definitely extinct most of the species on Earth pretty damn easily, given the fact that we've done that an accident in the past. So, yeah, exactly. We weren't here, and most species got wiped out by like natural events and just everything constantly dying off from diseases and stuff. Um, I think we're not so important. No, I think we are important, dude. That I disagree with right there. When it comes down to it, intelligence is leading them down an evolutionary path of making social beings capable of counting numbers, making tools, doing philosophy only once. When it comes down to it, it's probably never going to happen on Earth again, ever. And by that I mean probably, I can certainly guarantee that we're never going to have another species go down the evolutionary path of intelligence. It's just not necessary. Evolution is random mutation. It selects for whatever is beneficial for the environment. Usually that's pincy claws, large teeth, and fangs and venom. And so when it comes down to it, intelligence is not something that's usually selected for. It's a rare occasion that pro-social traits are selected for, at least to the extent that they were for our species. It probably will never crop up again. So the fact is, we are important because we're the only things on this planet that understand that we're not the only things that feeling ow. Like when a nail goes through my hand, I go ow. And when I see a nail goes through someone else's hand, I go, ooh, that probably hurt like a bitch, you know? Other things in the planet, they don't have that capability. They get poked with a rod and they go, ow. And then they see another animal get poked by a rod of a different species and they just go, "Hmm." Do you though? I do. I mean, he says, I don't care. I mean, it really depends on the situation. I mean, if it like really looks like it hurt, then I might be uh, like I have strong psychological understanding of things, so I can understand that like, ooh, that hurt. I'm not a pure sociopath, so I'm not like disconnected. You say you want to commit violent crime. Is that because you're pissed off at people? No, it's mainly because I just want to commit violent crime. Um, sure, people deserve it, but not really. Um, was it because I was pissed off at some people? At some point, I was pissed off at people, but no, I want to commit violent crime because I like suffering. Suffering is amusing. Just as when I smile and I get excited, you feel maybe a little bit more excited and a little more happy, you know? Just as that happens, when someone's in pure agony, just raptured in fucking fear and terror for their own well-being, the well-being of someone that they care for, oh boy, does that make the blood flow go downstairs if you catch my drift. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Ha ha ha. Ah, but when it comes down to it, no, I love violence. Violence is cool, baby. Hell. So yeah, it's like, so, is he kidding? Maybe a little bit. Um, so do I I love this combo, hell yeah. So yeah, it's just like, do I want to commit violent crime because I'm pissed off at people? Yes. Do I also want to commit violent crime for no reason whatsoever, simply because I like violence for violence sake and the fact that I like people being in pain or looking like they're in pain? Have a reverse psychological reaction to fear where instead of being like, oh, you're scared, I should be empathizing with you and wondering why you're scared. Instead, I feel angry at people when they feel scared. Someone feels sad, I feel annoyed or upset that they're displaying such a volatile emotion that I cannot relate to. Stuff of that nature. So it's just like, I feel less sad, but I feel less angry, but people feeling sad these days. But that's because I can relate to people's emotions more. But in the past, I get more annoyed. I'm angry all the time, but I won't go rampage because I have accountability. Yeah, Sam, exactly. It's like I'm not going to start a fight with people because I understand if I get in a fight with people, it can hurt myself in the past. That's basically my past logic. I was like, if I get in a fight with someone, I can get hurt, I can get in trouble. That's not a good thing. Person throws first punch gets in trouble, and then if you get caught, in the fight, you're also going to get talked to, blah blah blah. And nowadays, it's more just of like acknowledgement of like, oh yeah, like my $5 is your $5. I just the golden rule thing, basically. Like, don't do unto others as you want done to yourself. Like if you and basically all people do not desire pain. It's in the definition of pain to be undesirable. It's an aversive response. And just as my pain, I naturally dislike other people dislike their pain, and so I shouldn't cause pain to people just as they shouldn't cause pain to me. So basically, that's, masochists say, what? Yeah, no. When it comes down to it, masochists like pain and they like physical pain, but they don't per se like. Here's the thing: you can be a masochist physically or psychologically, but when it comes down to it, you only like certain forms of pain. You don't like all forms of pain. You could go up to a masochist and you could shoot their mother in the face, and they're gonna start bawling their eyes out. And they're gonna look at them in the eyes and just be like, "Ah, like you like pain, motherfucker. What about that?" And they're gonna be crying. So, moral of the story is you can be a masochist in some ways, but not all but you can't be a masochist in all forms of pain. all forms of pain will occur in someone's life in some way. And you can enjoy physical pain, but you might not enjoy emotional pain. You might enjoy being degraded, but you not might not enjoy being truly looked down upon. You may enjoy being looked down upon, but you might not enjoy being verbally assaulted. Um, you know, there's different variations of like why people like what they do based off of past traumas that install different type of needs into the brain and all that type of stuff, for positive and negative reinforcement reasons, and all that stuff gets a big jumble of chaos. And I'm not going to get into psychology. I don't know enough about it to really be insightful in any way. But when it comes down to it, what matters is just the fact that pain is a bad thing, and it's going to be interpreted as pain, But when a masochist says I like pain, what they're really saying is I like something that is generally considered degrading and hurts me in some ways, but relieves a greater pain or need frustration in another way. So they basically are willing to take on some pain to reduce a greater pain. So it's not that the pain isn't bad, it's still bad. They're just taking on one form of pain to relieve a greater pain, that i.e., like sexual frustration or frustration towards themselves, or they feel like they deserve punishment of some sort, or whatever it is. Basically that's like a trauma that's gone on in their life, because most people who are masochists have some type of trauma. Most, not all, I'm not going to say all, but most people who are masochists have some type of psychological trauma, either enforced by themselves because they themselves are like sadistic and believe that they're they either believe that they themselves deserve punishment because they're a bad person, or they themselves have been hurt in the past. How do I see myself? I see myself as very much a sadist and a little bit of a masochist because of the fact that I'm a sadist, and I've kind of always I was raised Christian, and so the fact that I was raised Christian, I've always had like that idea of like damnation and hellfire, and that people deserve punishment for committing sin. And basically, I was raised Christian for a good portion of my life, so I basically like giving homicidal ideation to account. I was basically like, I'm an evil motherfucker down to the core, but for some reason, I believed it for a long time, but that's because that was the only thing I knew. Um, but yeah, essentially, when you have homicidal ideation and you're Christian, you kind of don't know what the fuck you're doing. You basically think God just kind of like plagued you upon this earth, but like gave you some reason to be here. And so basically, I always kind of thought like I had like this weird thing of like self love because I'm a narcissist, but also like self hatred, and feeling that I deserve punishment for being like a sinner, just like everybody else is a sinner or whatever. And so basically, I'm always kind of had like this slight masochistic side, but it was more of like a masochistic side, not because of trauma, but more because of like I realized that I was a bad person and deserved bad things or whatever. We are living energy on planet. I believe in heaven and hell. Well, I don't believe in heaven and hell either, and I don't know about living energy. That's just kind of, I mean, I guess technically all things are energy. There's no such thing as evolution. Basic. Okay, you have to think about the universe like this. There is no way to distinguish a phone from the phone case, from the air molecules around it, from me from the chair that I'm sitting on, besides from the fact that we empirically experience them as such. Someone who's stripping balls on LSD, the whole world's going to be wish-washed and colorful, and they might not be able to distinguish me from the chair. I might all look like one object to them. Similar to other things, the only reason that we experience the world as it is because of evolution, basically, because it was beneficial to experience these things as separate entities. The reason I just like why is it that I consider this a vape, Why is it I consider like if I pull this apart, is this no longer a vape? Is it a vape? Is it still a vape even though it's separated? Is it only a vape when it's put together? Basically we combine words to like give. Oh, why are you vaping? Because I like nicotine, bro. Speaking of that, I need to fill up my vape. It's kind of almost empty. But I like nicotine because social conditioning. Because I wanted to be like cool back in early when I was getting out of high school. I wanted to be like in groups or like social vaping. I also thought it looked flavorful and like a nice habit, to get into. And it was, and now it's a money grind. Um, and I could care less because I don't exactly have anything that I really want to. So we're all hypocrites? Not necessarily. I mean, kind of, yes. Sure, I'm creating artificial desires by having this, and like, but it also relieves a lot of built up stresses because you are, yeah. Basically creating artificial desires to satisfy artificial desires, but I also have natural dissatisfaction with life, and so creating an illusion of things to satisfy also, makes me like basically it's problematic. It's really no problem. It's really problematic if you don't realize the illusion, but I already realized the illusion, so I'm tapped into it. So I'm like, well, whatever, man, do be. So I get what I'm feeding. I know I'm feeding the demon. I'm gonna go grab some breakfast while you grab a drink. But through and through, I've come undone. Why just wait? I like what you're talking, but in mine it seems that you don't like what you like, so I don't like what I'm watching. I'm too simple. I don't like anything, my dude. I like what you're talking. I like what you are talking, but in my mind it seems that you don't like what you like, so I don't like what I'm watching. I'm too simple. Okay. So you basically think that I do things that I deem see undesirable, basically, but I do them anyways out of some sense of like duty or whatever. So basically, you're more of a fan of Nietzsche, and I'm not. I fucking hate Nietzsche, bro. I'm sorry, it's that simple to me. Fuck Nietzsche. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, it's process. No, I don't. I fucking hate Nietzsche. So when it comes down to it, people who are like, be the master of yourself, master your own desires. You must realize who you are and manifest that into the world. I'm like, no, fuck that. If I were to manifest me into the world, there'd be like at least 50 dead corpses littering the countryside within a 150-mile radius of where I'm living. So, like, I'm just saying. But when I'm listening to you, I don't. What I'm just being question mark. What you saying, bro? Remember, I'm a disciplined motherfucker. I'm literally a vegan, bro. I'm literally eating oat milk right now. Oat milk and like fucking boring shit. I literally eat beans and corn and rice almost every day of the week. Beans, bro. It's like cornflakes, I guess, plus like dried strawberry. Practically, it's just sugar and cardboard, but same difference. Here, let's present my screen. Tell me if any of it is too loud, by the way. We're just going to watch some videos, and I'll talk through them every once in a while.
Because that sort of fits. I mean, it's the same as cannibalism in a way.
If you are running circles here, should you eat anyways? Well, I don't believe we're running circles here. I believe that I don't believe there's any cosmic purpose, but I believe what matters is experience and reducing pain. Oh. When it comes down to it, yeah, it's eating is a form of bad because it causes harm to other sentient beings. But when it comes down to it, it's a necessary evil that I must engage in order to reduce suffering on the net whole via doing antinatalism activism and stuff like that. Unfortunately, so unfortunately, I must continue existing in order to prevent suffering. Otherwise, I'd much rather just put a bullet into my head. But
get it into some sort of real game. This is you films, did a video. The general subject of making videos and what's the point, and well, she didn't really do that. She did on more of the how to promote this content or get it into some sort of real game. This is YouTube small pool thing isn't really going anywhere, puddle thing. I pretty much am just talking to the converted, and that's kind of pointless to an extent. I mean, I think the practice should be over soon, and we should get to the real game.
keeping you in mind a little. Hell yeah.
Minor league, major league.
Feel free to subscribe if you want. I basically live stream every day.
I got a response. I'll do a response to Matt, and not a response, but I'll just comment on a video he made. And Snake Plisskenus, he just stepped right in, just walked right into the smacking trap or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be too easy to beat him up.
Well, if you're drunk, feel free to come on here.
Anyway. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. So anyway, I just
that was pretty weird
stuff. And today I was actually, it's just going to be too easy to beat him up. So anyway, maybe it's just a crippled drunk anyway.
Rizza said drunk, he said drunk in the video. So, anyway, so we all were thinking about drunk people all at the same time.
Thought about writing a book again.
Oh, spooky.
And this, sort of like this is the academic thing you have to do or something. This is some sort of credential.
Just kidding.
But I was thinking about the whole consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction, and I kind of like the idea of CRAP as an acronym. Life is crap. And I was just thinking, yeah, that'd make a great book title, like Life is Crap. CRA, crap would be great. And, have some nice cover art displaying the crap of some kind. But I mean, just be a good book thing. So, yeah, it's mine. Life is crap. So no one else write a book called Life is Crap, or I'm going to claim you stole it from me, bastards. So it'd be consumption, reproduction, and we have to change the cannibalism addiction. So it'd be consumption, reproduction, addiction, yeah. And now we just need the P, and I'm thinking parasitism. But I mean, that doesn't exactly sing, but that's where I am right now, parasitism. Because that sort of fits. I mean, it's the same as cannibalism in a way, and it just is kind of good. I mean, you can go on for chapters in a book about all the mechanisms in our existence that are so parasitical, the whole way we live and the whole way even the way we attach to things, the way we make friendships with people. We're all, I know I have been guilty of it in my life, and I know I've been the victim of it in my life, where, people have been your friend when you're useful, and when you're not, you're not. I mean, you are as forgettable can be. Um, and the same thing. Like I said, I've we are all sort of just takers in so many ways, and so it really does kind of just fit. And we're lucky if we can get into a symbiotic marriage or relationship where our parasitism doesn't get out of control, and where it's some
This is
sort
Gary
of
Mosher, by the way.
parasitism. She's
Are you a sociopath? Potentially. Um, Based on the conversation we've had so far, if you think I'm normal enough or not too strange, you probably are not neurotypical. And if you think that, I have more empathy than you do, potentially that could be a bad thing. You might have some level of sociopathy going on. Um, if you, I guess, yeah, I mean, if you think you might be a sociopath, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, basically. I'm thinking about of touching our society. I mean, a lot of people are. A lot of people have that same feeling. So don't feel like too weird or anything like that. But I mean, 1 to 3% of people are psychopaths, diagnosably speaking, and 20% of people have psychopathic traits. So the chance that you have psychopathic traits is pretty high. It's like 1 in 5 people. The chance that you're a psychopath, it's literally, as a man, 3 in 100 people. If you know more than 100 men, one of them is a psychopath, and it could easily be you. So if you've talked to more than 100 men this week, I mean, one of them's a psychopath. And if you're in a business, probably more than 100 workers there, one of them's a psychopath. So, hey, man, the way I look at it is, whenever you're going down a road and you see like 10 cars in a row and there's 4 people in those cars, that means 40 people. So you go like every 30 cars is a psychopath in one of them, basically. Like that's kind of how you have to look at it. And yeah, say there's a good chance, I have a more clear mind than, yeah, exactly. It's like it's not that you should be like wary, like, oh no, I'm a psychopath. I'm so like abnormal. It's like you should be wary and you should be aware of like what you have, but at the same time, it's not like you're like a complete minority. It's not like you're like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Like you're like the stranger in the lone world. It's like, nah, there's like in a room of like in a business, there's like, yeah, I'm okay with minority. Yeah, exactly. You're not like the sole wolf, but you are a minority of people. Like there's other people that you can have a community. Like there's more than I don't want to go lower or higher. Yeah, exactly. Like being like a 1 to 3% of people is pretty good. Like you can have a small community of people. You're not in the mainstream. You're not a normie, but you're also not like catatonic schizophrenic, where it's like a fraction of population. It's like no one is gonna be able to relate to you. It's just like, oh, sorry, you're a statue, dude. Guess you can deal with that. Haha, get fucked. So at least when you're a psychopath of sorts, like 20% of the population can relate to you, and you know, 1 to 3% of people can highly understand you, but not really understand you either because they're psychopaths. They don't understand shit for chat. I mean, unless they have cognitive empathy, which a lot of them do. A lot of psychopaths have cognitive empathy. Most sociopaths have cognitive empathy. Um, well, I'd say more psychopaths have cognitive empathy than sociopaths, but um, either way, they both can have cognitive empathy. Psychopaths can potentially have effective empathy, but it's potentially possible that they don't have any effective empathy. The psychological literature is a little bit confusing on that. I can pull up a video on this. It's a little bit interesting in a little bit, but basically for antisocial personality disorder, my brain just blanked. Fuck it, I don't care. We're gonna just gonna watch the video. Screw this. But if you remember what I was saying, you have a question of what I was saying in the context of what I was saying, I might be able to recall what I was saying. So shoot that into the comment section if you do have a question. Mine is blank whole time. I'm soaking. Hell yeah. So yeah, basically, there's a lot of interesting things about antisocial personality disorder. Highly recommend you look into it if you think you're a psychopath. It's always beneficial to know such things for yourself. Um, and it's just interesting, the dialogue on antisocial personality disorder is quite fascinating in general. So, would recommend looking up Todd Grande and watching some of his videos on antisocial personality disorder and the dark triad, and cluster B personalities in general. I hear some enjoyment in your voice. Yeah, I like talking about psychology. Psychology is fun. So, psychology is quite enjoyable. I do like talking about psychology. It's quite enjoyable. So, yeah, if you want to check out anything involving Todd Grande, please do so. His channel's interesting. Dick rising for psychs. Yeah, man, I love psychiatry. Psychiatry is such an interesting topic. I wanted to be a psychiatrist for a long time, but then my uncle was just kind of like, hey, well, my cousin, I should say, he's basically an uncle because he's like fucking like 15 years older than me, bro. But when it comes down to, he's my cousin. But he was just like, yo, man, this shit sucks, and I'm like, nah, it's fair. Shit, I hope I never meet you. Why? No, man, why is because I basically am like, not Patrick Bateman, fucking Hannibal Lecter. I like philosophy, psychology, and I'm a psychopath, and I'm just like sitting here just like, hello. From what I heard. uh, I mean, yeah, basically, I'm a big fan of psychology, a huge fan of philosophy. You are not helping in a social way. I am helping people in a social way. I am preventing suffering in this world by convincing people to not have kids and to um not to have kids, not to buy from breeders, to go vegan, and if they don't want to do all the above, to hopefully do the right thing and bow, you know, this is America. You know. So when it comes down to it, yeah, I'm helping out. I'm doing what's necessary, doing the good thing, the good deeds. But are you being in the right way? Sorry, but are you being in the right? There is not right thing. No, there is a right thing. What is right is what prevents the most suffering, my dude. It's just that simple. Just as if I were to stab you with a knife, you would be in a lot of pain and be like, "Oh God, I really wish this sensation would stop." Anybody else would be in that same boat because pain is a bad thing. It's unwanted. It's something of value, basically. This value and experience. But why are you stabbing me? This is just a hypothetical scenario, just to demonstrate, basically. If someone was stabbing you in the liver, I'm dead. I mean, yeah, basically, if someone were to just stab you non-lethally and to put you in a bunch of pain or whatever, unnecessarily causing you great, vast, severe physical pain and maybe some emotional pain from the fact that you're seeing all your blood and being like, "Oh God, am I gonna die?" So, all that type of stuff. But if someone were to do that to you and you'd be like, "Oh, this is unnecessary. Why did you stab me?" And he's just like, "I just felt like it. In fact, I get a throbbing boner whenever I stab someone." If you stab me in the arm, yeah. I stab you in the arm because I get off the people being stabbed in the arm or something. Can I relate to the hate for the stabber? I mean, if you want to. But, I mean, yeah, basically, there's something wrong about stabbing someone in the arm to get a boner, but there is not something wrong with stabbing someone in the arm to defend yourself from someone trying to stab you. Why is that? It's because person trying to stab you because they're having fun and they're like a serial killer or whatever. Um, Basically, this person wants to cause net suffering in the world, and you're preventing them from causing net suffering by shoving your knife into their chest. You're defending yourself from a sadist, basically. Now, no social status casualing people. No social status is causing. I'm a little confuzzled, but it's okay. Um, But yeah, basically, for the most part, if not completely, I think completely, um, all all things we deem valuable in the universe, or right or wrong, I should say, can be broken down into basically the assessment of pain avoidance and yeah, basically just pain avoidance. Like things are basically considered wrong if pain occurs, and things are considered good and that ought to be done and required to be done if they prevent a pain that could have occurred. Basically, for example, a kid drowning in a lake, and you're walking by the drowning kid. The classic Peter Singer example. Um, do you have an obligation to help the drowning kid or whatever? Most people say, yes, I have an obligation to help the drowning kid. That's because the kid's in a state of need or pain or whatever, like this drowning not a very pleasant sensation. And you can easily stop the kid from drowning by just plucking them out of the water. But, but basically, it would be wrong to just let the kid drown, especially like say if it was like a slow, torturous drowning death or something. You're going to the extremes, yes, but life is a very much an extreme. The extremes are just a good way to highlight examples. I mean, I could say like, I don't know, like, do you have an obligation to help your brother with his math assignment? Um, and it's really helpful for him to get into college, and all you want to do is play video games. Less and less people are taking extremes. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I'll take an example like this. Like, your brother's going in your brother's basically going into physics or something, not physics. Your brother is going into your brother is in middle school and you were in college. You've taken math already, and your brother basically is going into a class or whatever, and he's struggling, and you can easily help him out, but you're just playing video games. Is it your moral responsibility to help your struggling brother who is, in mental distress? It could be I have a brother, but it can be your sister, it doesn't matter. Um No, I mean, do your thing when you were 18. No, it's different than that. But I mean, basically, I'm just giving this example of like, like, do you have obligations to do simple things if like it doesn't have any cost to yourself? If you have some type of connection to this person, there's a reason for them to ask you to do something. Do you have an obligation to help them out? And I'd say, unfortunately, we have some rules. Well, I'm not talking about rules. Like, what do you mean by unfortunately we have some rules? Like, you think it's unfortunate that rapists aren't allowed to rape children, or like not? Because I think it's good that we have rules. So, and you might say that, hey, you're taking it to the extremes again. But that's the thing. Like, you have to take account the extremes in order to like take account morality in general. Like, if the extremes aren't extreme unless there's a baseline, basically. So there's a things aren't considered extreme unless there's a baseline wrong. No, it's cool, my dude. But like if like like something can't be considered like in a like bring something to like I'm sorry I brought rape into it, but like rape can't be considered extreme unless like there's something inherently wrong with rape, i.e. pain. So unnecessary pain. So, I kind of just bring up like extreme topics all the time because I think the extremes are necessary to understand the lesser things. Because if we can understand why the extremes are wrong, then we can understand why basically the non extremes are also wrong. Where did I put my vape? There it is. I'm just agitated. No problem. Why are you agitated, my dude, if you want to pontificate with me? I like your perspective. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tell me if the internet gets too bad, by the way, because I'll speed up the process of me going inside. Uh, yeah, what the fuck did I just write? Yeah, I was singing the same thing, bro. It was like, do you believe that young minds? And then it was just like, can make something for that new, maybe? NEW, maybe you typed it in the wrong way, or win, I don't know. Yeah, you have to type out that sentence again. Yeah, do the evil things. Can people mask? Do you believe young minds can mask? Can do evil things? No, I don't. Well, yeah, I believe. I'm a consequentialist, so I believe all that matters is pain and pleasure. So I don't really believe in evil per se, because evil implies like some like spiritual thing, like intention. Like evil implies like intentions matter and stuff like that. And that like I think that young minds are thinking of minds. They don't care. Yeah, exactly. The young minds are still developing. They're very much they're not very introspective or like they don't really introspect on themselves, and they don't really think about what other people are thinking about in their mind. They just are kind of operating like animals in a way. Kids are kind of like animals. Um, so I don't necessarily think that like young minds. I think of kids as non-moral agents, basically. They're like animals in my opinion. Does just as I animals are worthy of moral consideration, just as children are worthy of moral consideration. So I basically think we should treat children just as we should adults in terms of morality. But in terms of moral agency and like consent based things, they're different than us. So I don't necessarily think a child is legally responsible if they commit a crime, but they are morally responsible just as anybody's morally responsible for any pain they inflict. Fucking A. Is the internet cutting out? Is moral code of value? Yeah, the internet's not cutting out. It's just being a little shitty. Is moral code of value is moral code of value lesser value for you? Um, to me, all that matters is the value of morality, like what we ought to do, i.e., like avoiding pain for others and then ourselves, secondarily speaking, prevention of suffering. So for me, moral code is the only thing that matters in the world. Like if I were to like somehow have someone go into my brain and agree what am I supposed to do today from you? From my perspective, what you should do today is research antinatalism, try to get a firm grasp on antinatalism and ethylism, and do that over the course of the next few weeks. Research it on YouTube, go to different channels, look at them a little bit. Um, Maybe talk research a little bit about veganism. I'd recommend probably looking into veganism before you look into antinatalism because uh, what am I supposed to do today from you? I will some, but for other no. But yeah, basically, if I were you, I would just basically try to research things regarding this, and then when your average day and average life wants to know things, it's just kind of like do activism, try to consume as little calories as you can. Basically, like take nutrition pills and stuff like that to get like what you need for your vegan diet, and then just get your minimal calorie intakes and stuff like that. Um, So yeah, basically just live a minimalistic lifestyle and try to spread antinatalism and ethylism and veganism. Activism is an arm of authoritarianism. Hey man, authoritarianism is not bad if you do it right. When it comes down to it, I believe that philosopher kings are pretty Gucci. Like if there could be if I could be in charge of the whole world would be better off. I'm just saying, if I was in charge of this bitch, the world would be pretty great right now. So, frankly, I'm okay with authoritarians. If authoritarians, no, it wouldn't. No, it would be great, bro. If I was in charge, everybody's job would be basically very efficient. It would be very functional. We'd get rid of like McDonald's might be there, but it would, like be like a vegan McDonald's. Nah, McDonald's would be there, but it'd be like for like hunted meat and stuff like that. Like we'd still have we'd still have things, man, but like everything would just be for the purpose of extinction and you are so exciting, dude. I love your side. Thank you. So when it comes down to it, yeah, like if I was in charge, dude, you would have like a job is like I don't know, like if your like job is normal, like a government job, you'd probably still have your job. If you have like something like sewage management or something like fundamental for society, you probably still have the same job. But if you're working at like fucking like Kmart or something, uh your new job is basically just like you're sweeping the countryside, burning down, like you're like doing controlled fires to burn down forests and like harvest mass woodlands. You're basically pumping bunch of jobs. We're going full accelerationism mode, baby. Capitalism. We're bringing the jobs. We're bringing the jobs. I might win, bro. I might win. I'm gonna be like, we are bringing the jobs back. Who cares? Fuck the environment. Environment. Fuck you, Mother Nature. You dumb bitch. You never did anything for me. And you, all these fucking nature lovers over here flicking your fucking bean. Fuck you, and just like kick them off the fucking get out of America. Like go and dwell in fucking Africa, you nature loving piece of shit. You know, that's what my campaign will be. So, woo! We're burning this bitch to the ground. So that's basically what I would be like. You won't win. I will win. Where I'm just gonna be like, you want jobs? Are you feeling like you could really do something right now? Guess what? We're paying you $30 fucking an hour. We're gonna pay you $30 an hour to go out there with a fucking like some shovels and like rakes and shit, and you're just gonna start ripping up that ground, bitch. You're gonna start tearing into that. You're gonna move them hips, You're gonna get some flow, baby, and you're gonna rip that land up, and you're gonna burn that bitch to the ground. We're harvesting wood. We're making plants. You were talking. See, when it comes down to it, it would be great for the economy. It would be great for their ethics because we would be preventing mass amounts of suffering by preventing animals from being able to live. And it's a win-win for everybody. Like it's a win-win in the short term and it's a win-win in the long term. Honestly, the accelerationists, I think some guy convinced me not too long ago that the accelerationists are kind of in the right, man. I was for the longest time I was like, no, fuck them accelerationists. But you know what comes down to it? If I was in charge, I could do it right. I don't trust accelerationists. I don't trust accelerationists. There's a bunch of fucking cappies, okay? Fuck the cappies. But when it comes down to it, I could do the accelerationism. I could do it right. I could burn this bitch to the ground, and I could do it right. The whole entire world would be on fire by the time I'm done with this, and everybody would be thankful in the future, but not really, because the future wouldn't exist. What I basically give everybody jobs, everybody would have their great old time. We'd all be having parties, and I would basically lead a revolution of just crusading across America, raising it all to the ground, and then imperializing the rest of the world. Just being like, hey, we have all this money for military. What the fuck are we doing with it? Hey, we're putting this bitch to use. Woo! And then we're just gonna destroy all the land of America, go over to Canada, just invade all of Canada, those fucking maple syrup loving bitches. And then we're just gonna once we raise Canada and destroy all of Canada and take anybody who wants to join our army in voluntarily because we're loving, we're doing this out of love, we're not monsters here. So if they want to join the campaign, they're more than welcome. And if they don't, they die. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding though. But and then essentially, bing bang boom, you go into Russia, you go into Mexico, you take Central America, you take South America, you go into Africa, you fuck up all of Australia, you go to then finally you hit Asia because they're the big beat, they're the BBG, of this campaign, and then you just go ham. You have a all-out war with Asia, and that's the game plan, babe. No, I'm just kidding. Vote for me. Everybody will be provided good housing until everything is reduced to nuclear waste, and we will all be provided good food until everything's radiated, and you'll all be paid a more than living wage because I am a socialist. I am about suffering prevention to the very core. You will all be fed and compensated dearly for your needed labor. So, you know, I'm a good politician. I care about you all on a cognitive level. I do not care about any of you on an emotional level. Why the fuck would I? But when it comes down to it, what really matters is the fact that I understand you. You and me, we're like brothers in mind, but not in heart. And that's all that matters. No, I'm not. I don't want power. I just want to see the world burn. Just kidding. No, I don't. But no, no. Serious thing. I don't want power. I just want to do what is right. And frankly, I believe what I want is what's right because I am just a catalyst, brother. I have very little desires. I have basically cured myself of desires besides just basic ones like social interaction, distract myself from pain, all that stuff. So I do things like the game and all that shit. But when it comes down to it, what do you think is it's lesser evil? Exactly. What I'm doing is a lesser evil, basically. This is the least evil thing you could do is to basically raise the planet to the ground and destroy all things. This is the least evil thing. The planet is fucked, bro. Continuing it on as is in any way, shape, or form. Look, you don't understand how this works, brother. When the lion tears apart the gazelle, what do you think is experiencing more pain there? The gazelle, or do you think the lion is experiencing more pleasure? Do you think? What do you think? Say it. What do you think is the less? What's the question? Because for me, I say there's far more pain in this world than there is pleasure, and someone needs to end it. Someone needs to end the pain. Someone needs to just invade this bitch, raise everything to the ground, and take the nuclear weapons and just. What's the lesser evil? What's the question for what is the lesser evil? What's the two things I'm choosing? I don't care. You want power? No, I want. What do you think? I mean, I can choose between lesser evils if you want, but you didn't give me any. Like, you didn't give me a choice A or a choice B, so I don't know what I'm choosing between. Basically, this world continue on as A, or world B, where. So in my mind, you were a socialist. Yeah, I'm a social democrat, meaning I'm a kind of a socialist, but I believe in democracy. But I'm basically also believe in authoritarianism at the same time. Basically, I believe in democracy so long as I'm not in charge. But if I'm in charge or someone just like me is in charge, then I'm an authoritarian because I trust me and I trust people like me. But people who aren't like me, I'm kind of just like, hey, you're probably not gonna do. Basically, if another psychopath who is also really cognitively empathetic was in charge and an ethicist, I'd be like, fuck yeah, man, I'd vote for you. You have full authority. But when it comes down to it, no, I'm pretty much cool with democracy so long as because most people are not gonna be cool if they're authoritarian figures. So I'm cool with democracy for the most part. But I like my good old socialism. I don't like them cappies. Fuck the cappies. We're living in like an oligarchy of sorts. I mean, we're living in a form of capitalism, oligarchy, or like corporatism. I guess it's like a corporate oligarchy. Um, yeah, it kind of sucks, but we're living in like a corporatocracy oligarchy type of thing, where it's like corporations buy the government, and it's various corporations buying the government. So it's like various oligarchs. Why are you vaping? Just leave. I'm not vaping. Well, I mean, I am vaping, but I'm vaping cannabis, bro. This is THC. That was a dab, my dude. This is a vape. Sure, this is a vape. This is a dab thing. Be a smoke. You are not here. Yeah, exactly. Just blow smoke in the camera. Just you can't see me. I'm smoking. I don't fucking know. Do not hear. Do not feel. This the way. I kind of want to just like stay awake now at this point and just eventually go to my job later. You are rich Eastern European and you want to preach. Hey man, I'm not rich. I actually am like don't have any money in my bank account right now, but I just got a new job. So pays $750 a week. But yeah, above average, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I don't get paid the greatest in the world, but I get paid enough to get by. My parents make like what, like total like 75K a year or some shit. They just don't. There's Jews, so they have a nice house and nice stuff because the cost of living here is really low, and frankly, they don't spend their money on shit for shat. Not even their own two sons, which they forced into existence to suffer and die. So, you know, there's that. I'm like, yeah, who gives a fuck? You know, let's just. So, yeah, Jews are not good, not in my home. But yeah, fuck my parents. They're a bunch of money hoarding cunts. What the hell is the purpose of having all this money if you're not gonna buy anything with it? Like they just like saving up all this money like for us to like, go to college and stuff, and I'm getting a job at the college, so it's like now college is free. It's like, okay, so you're gonna let me like use this money like buy a house or like help buy like psychological evaluation? Or are you going to like I'm just looking outside and enjoying the view. It's just yeah, it's just like yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like they could totally help me out way more, but they're just like, nah man, fuck you. We just saved up all this money. It's like we're not buying shit for shat with it, but we're just like hoarding this money for some fucking reason. And fuck you. Not even literally imposed life on you. You're gonna inevitably die someday, probably not pleasantly. And now you have to work. You have to feed yourself. You have to have. You're really mentally fucking ill. And it's just like, have fun with the world, bro. And I'm just like, okay, thanks, I guess. So, yeah, sure, I'm thankful that you provide a roof for me, which is like the fucking bare minimum they have for an obligation is like provide a roof and food for me, like the things I need to survive. Like, oh wow, thanks, mom and dad, you provide a roof for me. They don't even feed me anymore, really. I pretty much buy most of my shit when it comes to food because they're not vegans. I'm the only vegan in the house. So I pretty much have to like scavenge like through their shit to see if I there's anything I can have that doesn't have fucking cheese in it. So it's like they don't even really purposely have anything that they can feed me. Basically, I just have a roof over my head. Again, thank you for the roof, bare minimum, because it's like they literally forced me into this world. They should take care of me. Like I'm going to die now someday from some unpleasant thing, probably cancer or suicide. And it's just like, oh no, why is this? What was the chain link that led me into this situation? Them having sex and choosing not to abort me and bring me into this world. Well, okay. Now that's also the chain link of why I have to go to work, why I have like debt, why all these things. It's just like, okay, fuck you guys. Fuck you guys a lot. Like, you guys are pricks. So how long you had the pose? What pose? Just I'm just holding my laptop in my hand. But I just look aesthetic if you think I had a pose. I mean, eating pussy. Would eat some pussy if someone was attractive and I wanted that. Unfortunately, people don't really. People think I'm gay. For one, people think I'm gay, which isn't true. I'm bisexual. And two, I've been single for so long, man, and it's not gonna change anytime soon. So yeah, man. I may look attractive, but the instant people start talking to me, they're like, "Wow, this guy's a fucking weirdo," and I'm like, "Hey, you're not wrong." So, it's just how it be. So, to be fair, I'm a nice guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm a psychopath, but I'm a nice guy. So it's like people tend to enjoy conversating with me. Uh, Flirted up some chick in the mall like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she said it felt like she's known me like her whole life, and she gave me her number and pretty stuff like that. So it's like I'm not a bad flirt, I'm not bad at talking to people. I just fucking hate talking to people. And when it comes down to it, if you talk to me long enough, you realize I'm a little bit of a fucking weirdo. And then people don't want to talk to me anymore. Or at least they don't have a sexual attraction to me anymore. Or at least they're concerned about their fucking well being and some subconscious primal level. And I'm like, that's fair. So, hey, it's just how it be. So. Because I don't really mask very much when it comes down to it. I do, but I don't. I don't like to mask my emotions very much anymore. I just kind of let myself be who I am, feeling like I am in those moments. So I just kind of go with the flow. I just kind of bounce myself off of people basically. And if I kind of slip up and aren't bouncing anymore and just kind of like be a little too real with someone, hey, I really do be. But hey, it is. It is what it is. And that is really the nature of the world. It just kind of is what it fucking is. And so I be stoic with it, man. I just pontificate with people and I be stoic, crying on the inside. I am I am so alone, guys. I am so alone. My best friend killed themselves a couple months ago, and the world's pain. Nothing has any value to me anymore. I literally am just living because of duty. Literally, I can't even get laid if I wanted to, basically, and life just fucking sucks. Like I'm being real with you all. I may be a psychopath. I may have very low neuroticism, but when it comes down to it, when your best friend and only person you've ever valued and felt any sense of emotional connection to, in any serious sense in your entire life, and you've known them for 7 years, and you've basically watched them struggle for all that time, and you basically consider them the strongest person in your life, commits suicide, you kind of just want to fucking exit this plane of existence. But when you're a utilitarian, you realize you have a duty, given that the fact that there's so few people on this fucking planet that carry this spirit and such ideology, that you have to continue living. And yeah, frankly, life sucks. But moral story is, god damn, do I need some pussy in my life? So, fuck yeah, I agree. I need some pussy. Ah, fucking man. If I got some pussy, maybe I would distract me from the crippling pain, which is reality. But here we are, not having pussy, and also being crippling depressed. Ayo. And having almost maxed out charisma stats that go to like 0 use. So, ayo. I'm dumped all my points in charisma, but I'd never socialize. I'm like a real mid-maxer, you know? Like, I never went for a full build. I like put all my points into charisma in the very beginning, and then I started just kind of like spreading them out, and it just went to shit at some point, and now I have like 0 skills in anything, and I'm just I'm like a mediocre dude. I just sit in the background, you know. But if you're asking how long I've s- but yeah, you said, oh shit, how long have you had that pose? Right now it's been about like 20 minutes. I've just been sitting here for like 20 minutes like this, just kind of staring out the window of my laptop in my hand. Pontificating. Big ranting. Thinking about life. How are y'all doing? Did I accidentally kill the mood? Did I kill the mood? Did I kill the mood a little bit? Did I ruin the mood? No, yeah, I definitely ruined the mood. Moral story is though, the mood is whatever I feel the mood to be. So you seem like a dude who doesn't really care about the mood though. So you are just having probably a vibe, entertained by whatever I'm saying, or you're tired and passed out because you were drunk. One of the two. Either way, I'm providing entertainment for somebody because 3 people are watching me, which means somebody else is watching me, even if they're not talking. To the 2 people watching me on YouTube, what the fuck are you being so quiet for? What is going on? Uh, dude, shouldn't it go as long as possible to spread the philosophy? No, because eventually it comes to costly on society. I mean, what do you think happens in your old age, bro? You begin to like deteriorate and shit. I ain't gonna stick around past my 50s. I'm gonna spread this to people, and then once my body gets to the point where I'm generating too much pain physically, and it takes too much medications and stuff to sustain me, I'm fucking outie. I'm not being a burden to pain generation, and I'm not being a burden to the health care system. So that's what I say. I say once I hit around like 50, 60, I'm outie here, you know. So basically another 30 years. Giving it another 30 years, guys. Yay. Pretty much a maximum 30 years, and then I'm basically out of here. Maybe 40. If somehow I find a partner and like life, then maybe 40. But I'm not gonna like life, so probably not. It's gonna be like 30. I mean, yeah, but veganism is still an obligation. I'm not gonna, as I said, it's about other people and then it's about the self. Things, if you haven't got that yet, I don't know what you're. Uh, if you haven't got that yet, man, utilitarianism, man, implies utility, and that means it's not a multiplayer game, bro. So I ought to be vegan, and then second comes me. The priority of the animals and priority of other beings is first. If I wanted to care about myself first and foremost, I'd just put a bullet through my own head. So it's not that hard to get access to guns in America. I can easily heal myself. It's just that guy was saying it's gonna cause premature death. I was only said because it was that context. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, for people that die prematurely from bad diet, I mean, it's probably a good thing they died, given that they're fat fucks. But when it comes down to it, living a life as a fat fuck probably isn't very good. So don't be a fat fuck. It's just gonna make your quality of life be lowered. So, yeah, just live healthily. Why not live healthily? If you live poorly, you're still gonna live a decent amount of time. It's not gonna like have your lifespan or anything. It's just gonna take off a few years. So why be fat and miserable and socially shamed when you could, it wouldn't be bad according to primordialism, but it would be bad according to negative utilitarianism, given that there's stresses, and negative utilitarianism is what implies primordialism. So negative utilitarianism is the main and only thing that you have to take into account, and it basically is the only thing that matters is negative utilitarianism. Primordialism, ethylism, these are just terms that are attached to negative utilitarianism and have their own like definitions or whatever. But essentially, promortalism is just as like an explanation of like, oh, death is good for the one who dies. Why is it good for the one who dies? What makes promortalism a thing? Negative utilitarianism does. So basically, everything breaks down to negative utilitarianism. Look at this guy. His name's Marco. He's the Void Walker. Well, it's almost 8 o'clock, so I'm gonna end the stream here in 5 minutes, I suppose. Any final questions, thoughts, concerns? If you respond to anything, by the way, it's been a while. Not really. Unless someone's responded to me and added me and I haven't seen it. I haven't really made response videos to people. I could, I suppose, check that out later today. I have a job thing till like from noon till 3, well, 11:45 till 3. So after that, I can probably do some anti-natalism response stuff, I guess, or whatever. Of your comments, I don't know, not entirely sure. Are you talking about on this video or another videos? No, I don't think so. Anyways, it is basically 8 o'clock. Anyways, I'm gonna close up the stream. So take care, y'all. Have a good one. I will stream later today again. And like be streaming like 8 hours. Oh, you were writing something about violence? I don't know what you were writing. Yeah, it probably didn't pop up on my screen, or if it one of the two. Either didn't pop up on my screen, or I didn't see it, or something. I don't know. Either way. But I'll respond to it later. But I'll be back in like 8 hours. See ya. Ciao.